present for the arrival of Her Excellency Dame Sandra Mason, Governor General of Barbados, and remain standing for the national anthem.
Only this morning, actually, I was talking to my sister, who was here on a visit from England, and we were talking about the people who didn't get a chance to come back. They lost touch with their families. Some of them thought that you left Barbados behind, you don't need to go back. And I guess those are the ones that we are trying to zero in on. And those are the ones that we would want, however we could get them back. Welcome back! Barbados is alive and well. Part of my job, as you know, is to go visit centenarians. And I say part because it's not the sum total of my job, just a small part of my job. But for me, the most exciting and the most pleasant and the most rewarding, perhaps, because I get a chance to interact with persons who would have lived 100 years ago. Occasionally you will hear from them what life was like. And it is then that I appreciate them so much more, because it is on their backs that we have reached where we have reached. It is they did all the things that, that we don't need to do now to bring us where we are, and I appreciate it. So the persons who would have left here, some of them left as young people, we would want them to come back and see that we appreciated what they did for us.
In the Mermaid Tavern, Thursday, January the 11th, 1652. No taxes without representation. In the Mermaid Tavern on the Bay in Oystonstown, the Charter of Barbados was signed. That charter laid the foundation for governance and democracy and later informed the scripting of the United States Constitution. It is arguably one of the more important documents in the Western Hemisphere to date, the Charter of Barbados. August the 1st, 1834, emancipation. The enslaved population of Barbados is legally freed. 64 years later, in 1898, Bradley Herbert Adams is born, and he, like a Moses, having been touched by the plight of the masses, later transformed Barbados from a rigid class-bound society to a healthy, developing democratic state. Our national hero, the Right Excellent Sir Bradley Herbert Adams. 22 years later, 1920 marked the birth of the statesman Errol Walton Barrow, who would lead this nation into independence. He awakened our sovereign consciousness and unapologetically declared to the world that Barbados shall be friend of all and satellites of none. The Right Excellent Errol Walton Barrow. 17 years on 1937. Today is a funny night. It is just after 10 on the night of July 26th. Riots in the land. It started in the area of the Empire Theatre here in Bridgetown. Barbadians rose in protest of the conditions of the times. For the first time, the establishment was forced to recognize Barbados' greatest asset, its people. In 1958, the greatest cricketer the world has ever seen scores his maiden test century, continuing to 265 not out, establishing a new record for the highest individual score in a single innings. The Right Excellent Sir Garfield Sobers, our only living national hero. November the 5th, 1968. Shirley Chisholm, the first black female, is elected to the United States Congress. 4 years later, in 1972, she became the first female to seek the United States presidential nomination. She is quoted as saying, "Those early years of my life on the island of Barbados gave me the spirit, give to me the spunk to challenge all of these age-old traditions." 1990, an internationally acclaimed healthcare administrator and women's advocate became our first female Governor General, Dame Nita. 1991, Ronald Suki King, the indomitable winner of 12 World Draft Championships. In 1998, he made it into the Guinness World Records for playing against 385 players simultaneously and beating all of them. In 2008, we were glued to our television monitors as she was awarded her first Grammy. She is one of the best-selling music artists of all times and has many titles: pop icon, superstar, singer, songwriter, actress, businesswoman, humanitarian, and ambassador. But to all of us, she is our very own Robyn, Rihanna, Fenty. The name Barbados has not only been written on history's page, that name has also been written on the moon. Yes, the moon. In 1976, the International Astronomical Union named a 14-kilometer wide crater on the moon the Greaves crater in honor of the Barbadian astronomer William Michael Herbert. In 2018, two accomplished female leaders assumed the highest offices in Barbados. On January 8th, Dame Sandra Mason became the 8th Governor General of Barbados. And on May 25th, history was made times over as Barbados celebrated the election of its first female Prime Minister, Mia Amor Mottley, who led a record-breaking election victory, capturing all of the 30 seats contested, a historic first for the Commonwealth and also gaining the highest share of the national votes ever recorded in Barbados. 2020 will be yet another milestone year in Barbados, as Bajans from all corners of the globe come together, recommit to our tradition of excellence, and rebuild our beloved Barbados. Come on home, we gathering.
Why are we gathered? We Gatherin Barbados to celebrate who we are. This is Vision 2020, the Prime Minister's vision for an all-inclusive Bajan homecoming. She gave a call to action at her Independence Parade last year for all Barbadians, those at home and those anywhere in the world. Bajans by birth, Bajans by descent, Bajans by choice, and those who love Barbados to join heads, hands, and hearts to build the best Barbados together. This will be a catalyst for national transformation. So, let's get ready. 2020 is the year we Gatherin Barbados. It's a year-long campaign when we, as Barbadians, recommit to the core Barbadian values that define us as a proud, caring, industrious people with an outstanding tradition of excellence. We will ignite the national consciousness of our beautiful Barbados. Regathering will focus on rebuilding the spirit of community that is the essence of our traditional Barbadian way of life. It will provide opportunities for Barbadians to celebrate, participate, and invest in events and projects across the entire island. Our future is now, and this vision leans brightly for 2020. Together, we will use the valuable tools and lessons of the past, so magically reflected almost every week in our articulate centenarians. It is our chance to embrace our people with disabilities, to truly work towards a fully accessible Barbados. We will encourage the positive exuberance of our innovative youth to ensure our digital competence will serve us well beyond today into many tomorrows for a smart Barbados. Who we are as a nation is firmly rooted in the memory of what we have overcome and what we can achieve together, hand in hand, community by community, parish by parish. At the parish level, the gathering will start in the north in January 2020 and move southward every month, with each parish being designated its own month to showcase its icons, its creatives, food, social life, whatever makes it unique. So, let's do this together. You say the month, and I'll tell you the parish. And remember, we want to hear you hail your parish. So, in 2020, we kick off with the month of January, and that's St. Lucy. St. Peter. March, St. Thomas. April, St. Joseph. May, St. John. June, St. George. July, St. Philip. I heard a special roar from Her Excellency on that one. August, St. Andrew. September, St. James. October, Christ Church. November, St. Michael. And it is nationwide from November 30th to December 31st. The whole of Barbados. This evening is our launch pad, and we engage in a national conversation on our heritage, our tradition of excellence, and the role of every Barbadian in our national transformation. It begins with me. It begins with you. Vision 2020. We gather in in Barbados.
Good evening. I'm here in Beijing at the launch of the Gatherin 2020. With me are Barbadian students who were studying here in Beijing and also some Barbadians who are actually residing in Beijing. Greetings to
I remember the story of a French philosopher who wrote widely on human behavior and a great writer. He lived in New York, and he said something that was very interesting. He said anytime he was ready to prepare a great work, he would leave New York, go to France, and then go to the little village where he was born. And there in that little village, he would get the inspiration and the vibrations necessary to begin a great work of art and writing. There was something present in that village that opened up his mind and created the environment for him to be creative in preparing that work. And I think that the message that we could send to those who have left Barbados, come back home and get the vibrations from your roots. Get the energy that will allow you to make the next step in your life from the place where you were born or where your forefathers were born, that in a real sense, you can't get it anywhere else.
Welcome back home. We missed you.
Come home, let's celebrate.
Come home. And for 2020, and I don't mean cricket.
Welcome to Barbados.
Welcome home to Barbados.
Come and enjoy Barbados.
Come on, home cooked food.
Please come to Barbados for 2020.
We need you here. We need the country to grow.
They got nice beaches, they got warm weather.
Just come to Barbados. Just come home. Family, come home.
We got good climate, good beaches, entertaining people.
We gather in Barbados.
Welcome home to all of you.
We gather in Barbados.
We gather in Barbados.
Welcome to Barbados.
Tell them welcome back to Barbados. So Barbados is a wonderful place with climate.
Barbados 2020. We gather in.
Welcome.
People we're hoping to welcome back to Barbados next year, all the way from Geneva. Let's live a Barbadian.
That's it? All right, good. So tell me when, 10 seconds? Is that right? Yep. Yeah, we're fully connected. Yeah, all right.
Everybody.
I just saw something. Yeah.
The wrong clip. Good evening, Barbados, and this is Ambassador Blackman from Geneva. We're here with Barbados, friends from Barbados, and we're looking forward to coming home next year for Vision 2020. I have some colleagues also from the Ambassador's Corps, Panama, and right, we have Cuba, Trinidad, and Nicaragua. And we're looking forward to coming home next year in 2020.
The impressions of Barbados until you actually come back here and talk to the people and exist in the environment. You cannot get that from the news, or you can't get that from reading about stuff on the internet. You need to immerse yourself in it. I think you need to be here to see that. And see how you may fit in to the new society. We are still, I think, held back in some ways by old attitudes, and I think those will naturally go away. And I think we have a more progressive. I see a young professional class growing up here, which is very progressive in their thoughts and their attitudes, and much more accepting of diversity and difference than anything that I experienced 45 years ago, 50 years ago when I was a kid here. But I don't think you can really sense that if you listen to the loudest, most strident voices, which is what you tend to hear in the newspapers and on social media. You tend to get the extremes, and those people are not representative of the attitudes in general. I think you need to be here to see that.
We stand at an important point in the history of our nation. From our independence, we have welcomed our growth as a nation and have, through cohesive action, built a country rooted in our motto of pride and industry. Each person, each generation, carefully and harmoniously leaving marks, weaving their vision into the fabric of the legacy of Barbados, the Barbados that we desire.
We Gatherin is a year-long celebration of excellence, entwined with a genuine love for a nation that is shared selflessly with all Barbadians, regardless of who we are, or where we are, or how we got here.
Many times as young people, our identity, who we are, it troubles us. The development of a strong and stable sense of self is key to personal development. This concept of identity is dynamic, complex, and developed throughout our existence.
We Gatherin gives us the opportunity to redefine ourselves as a people, to take stock, to re-examine and to rediscover our past, to juxtapose that position with our current situation, so that we may make a determination of how far we have come, and hence determine how we will forge ahead.
Vision 2020 is a time of pooling together, converging, assembling, mustering our people, our resources, our skills, in order to undertake the mammoth task of rebuilding and transforming our country.
This is a call to all Barbadians. Whoever you are, wherever you may be, whatever you are doing, stand up, step forward, and identify yourself as a proud Bajan. Share your knowledge, share the experiences that enabled you to leave Barbados and to conquer the world. Let us gather together and recommit to the purposeful pursuit of Barbadian excellence.
As we plan for the years ahead, there are new challenges emerging and great opportunities to seize. Advances in technology have drastically changed how we interact. And at this point in time, new and dynamic ideas for citizen engagement have been created.
Let us create the future of our nation together, crafting a purpose that is bigger than our barriers and differences. To be Barbadian transcends all barriers, whether of race, color, class, religion, or geographical location. We are one people. All of we is one.
This oneness is shown in our integrity, tolerance, loyalty, peacefulness, hospitality, self-assurance, intelligence, resilience, adaptability, and strength as a nation. This is an exciting time, a rejuvenation, a revival, a renewal of our love and commitment to ourselves as one Barbadian family and to our nation.
Young people, this is our time, our chance to map our vision and chart our path.
This is our country to mold, to build, to shape, or to tear down.
We are the craftsmen of our fate. This is our chance to be a part of something great, a change, a shift, a renaissance.
Vision 2020 is we ting.
The future of Barbados is based on the part that we play right now. Let us use our voices, our imagination, our innovation, our talents, our aspirations, our technology, our art, our culture, and our tenacity.
Our vision must be 2020 as we launch the National Youth Policy Consultations. To sit on the sidelines. We cannot afford to be spectators in a country that will one day be ours to carry. We stand 60,000 strong. We are found in every nook and cranny, upon every block liming, every spot of Barbados throughout the diaspora. We gather in from Pike Corner in St. Lucie to Atlantic Shores in Christchurch, from Belle Plaine in St. Andrew to Porters in St. James. Show up and show out.
We will not leave the blocks out because we see the potential and worth of blocks as spaces for creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Brothers and sisters on the block, know your worth. Your family needs you. Your community needs you. Your country needs you to work towards our common goal of building a brighter and more prosperous future for all of us.
We stand at interesting crossroads where a number of futures are laid out before us. But if we remain stuck in these crossroads, we cannot move forward as a nation.
We will be lost if we do not look to the past for the wisdom of bygone eras.
We often say we are all in this together. Today, we truly are.
We must all invest in the rebuilding and transformation of our beloved country. For our actions today will determine our survival and quality of life tomorrow.
Cheese on winner, Bajans in all forms. Who else is coming home?
If you ever doubted that the route to this point in time was smooth, you now know that it was not. Good night, Barbadians all over the world. Good night, Barbadians. On the 30th of November last year, at that Mecca, which, Sir Gary, you made famous more than any other human being, at Kensington Oval on our birthday, I asked Barbadians, local and wherever they are in the world, to contemplate that we needed to come together in 2020 to perfect that vision, to build the best Barbados we can together. And coming together in 2020 isn't about a single moment in time, but it is about a process. And it is about the building of a nation from St. Lucie to St. Philip, from the West Coast to the East Coast, from Barbados to the world and back. And in coming here, we begin to put into that one pot, as you have heard from others tonight, how we got here. What makes us tick? Who makes us real? And even in this courtyard this evening, we couldn't come here and ignore the people around us. And I therefore want to thank the men who gather outside every day. Every day. And they gather and they talk and they play dominoes and they do their thing. And we say tonight that you must be a part of this process, and we thank you for coming in here this evening. Because above all else, 2020 must be about defining who we are as that one people in this one space to make this one world, our world, relevant. And 2020 is that point, ironically, where vision is perfected. But we have a bigger mission ahead of us. And we as Barbadians will play that role because we say that we live in a world that we see changing around us. And by 2030, we want to be that country in the world that says we will no longer contribute to the destruction of Mother Earth, but that we will work to make our placement on this earth carbon neutral. However small, it starts with us. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, the change begins with me. It begins with you. And this evening, therefore, is a modest attempt on the part of a people to recognize that we didn't get here by accident, that we stand on the shoulders of those who helped to build this country, those who many don't even recall were here first, the Amerindians, whose presence can still be found below the earth. Many a time in the building of buildings, when we go to the foundation, we realize that there were people who lived here who the written history does not capture sufficiently. But we go further. We recognize that the days of modern settlement from the 17th century were torturous, and that this precinct in which we now stand did not always represent a force for good. It represented at one point the worst of our angels. It represented oppression and exploitation in a manner that we now reflect that we should work always to make sure that it not only does not become a part of our environment nationally, but that the world does not reflect it in how we behave and how we treat to each other. And that is why it is easy for us, irrespective of political affiliation, to define the character of a nation and the character of a people. A people who understand that with a history such as what we had, you have to fight against injustice. You have to fight for fairness. In a history that we had, you have, as a small country, to understand that principles matter. That you have to respect the saying, friends of all, satellites of none. And that is who we are. And that may better cause others to appreciate why we don't always take the easy road, or we don't always make decisions that appear to be easy. That sometimes we pay the price for principle, but principles only mean something when it is inconvenient to stand by them. And then we understand that democracy is a precious gift. And like a house, it can only stay with us, not even grow. It can only stay with us if we nurture it and we protect it. And we give the people who have no voice a voice. And we give the people who have no space a space. And we give people that sense of identity. Because as you heard from the two young people who came, Roshana and Ali, one Bajan by choice and one Bajan by birth. And many would judge and think that Ali is Bajan by choice and Roshana is Bajan by birth, and it's the other way around. But when you heard from them that they understand that the world in which they live requires them to reach out to each other and to require others who appear not to be building at this stage, but for us to find space and room and encouragement to nurture them, to build the best Barbados we can together. And that best Barbados cannot be done by 300,000 people living here alone. They're double that amount living overseas. And when I watched Chelston Brathwaite tonight, and I listened to Her Excellency tonight, and I reflected on what was said with the icons of this country, I would tell you a lie if I didn't tell you that there was a lump in my throat. It is the same lump that I felt as a schoolgirl when I watched Sir Garfield Sobers being knighted at Garrison Savannah when I was barely the age of 9 years old, in the presence of thousands of people that morning in February. I'll never forget it. It was also the morning that my grandfather, who taught me how to develop and print, passed away. It is the same lump that I felt in my throat when I saw Nicholas Branca and Arturo Tappan performing with Roberta Flack and excelling on a global stage. It is the same lump I felt in my throat when I saw the West Indies just here the other day at Kensington with Ralston Chase and Jason Holder. It don't matter what happened this week. Can't wipe it out. Win in splendid form, reminding me of the days when we won the first World Cup. It is the same lump I felt in my throat when I listened to Bajans just express how they feel about their country and how much they love it. It is the same lump that we feel always when we see good and feel good about our country. That is the lump of love. That is the lump that inspires caring and protection. That is the lump that requires of us the extra effort to build and nurture this democracy. And in doing that, to recognize that however small we are, that we are accustomed to excellence. It isn't only Mr. Greaves as an astronomer whose name is on the moon. How does a country in the 19th century cast itself such that its people are the leaders in excellence in cane research and cane breeding globally? How do we reach levels of excellence in so many other fields, but we fail to tell the story to our young people, to inspire them to greater heights and to believe that they too can be pioneers and patriots representing excellence, not just in this nation, but in this world in which we live. So 2020, my friends, is about that conversation, that experience, telling our story, sharing our passions, coming home for that inspiration which Chelston referred to, that great French philosopher got each time he returned to his village. 2020 is about making that difference to your old primary school, or making that difference to the church that helped nurtured you in your parish. 2020 is about families recognizing that time on this earth is way too short, and we need to get together a little more, to spend time a little more, because when the day is gone, it's gone. And when the day is done, it's done. 2020 is our time. And I ask you to recognize that as we gather, yes, it is about us, but it is also about us speaking to the rest of the world. For Barbados must be that global hub. Barbados must be that place that has a global voice. Barbados must be that place from which global business can be transacted. Because however small we are, however much we stand between the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean, we count and we matter. And we matter to the point where we believe that we have a valid story to tell, and our story shall be told. But it can only be told if we come together as one to build that best Barbados together. So tonight in New York, those watching, in Geneva, 6 hours ahead, those watching, in Beijing, you saw Jerome with us. It is now Saturday morning in Beijing before he gets on a plane to come back to Barbados, having been with the China Caribbean Forum all week. In Canada, in Ottawa, they're watching. In Washington, D.C., there are watch parties watching. All over, Barbadians watch tonight through this wonderful thing. In Australia, my sister is watching and my nieces. I say to all of you, this is our land. This is our Barbados. And more than anything else, we need to stand up and count and show our hands and come home in 2020, because we gathering in 2020. God bless you. God bless Barbados.
Please stand for the National Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to my country, Barbados, and to my flag, to uphold and defend their honor, and by my living to do credit to my nation wherever I go.
Local music, local music.
Tell somebody where's some music.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
I'll say something.
Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. We invite you now to join us for some refreshments and plan for your relatives and friends who will be gathering in Barbados in 2020.